All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. I hope you're doing well this morning. Real quick, if you'd like to support the channel, I got a whole mess of links in the description to do it. We got Patreon, PayPal, got t-shirts and sweatshirts if that's your thing. If you need a coffee mug, there's a couple left. I would really appreciate it, and it just keeps the whole train going. All right, so today we are going to talk about the Chinese social credit system. Absolutely horrifying. This is not an Orwell book. This didn't happen 100 years ago before a massive revolution. This is happening right now. And in 2014, the Chinese government were thinking, how do we know if we can trust a citizen? Like that guy right there. How do I know if I can trust him? I'm sitting here in a suit. I'm a government guy. I got a suit. But I don't know if I can trust that guy. He's not in a suit. And what these psychos came up with was the social credit system. So everybody gets a score. I think you start at 1,000, and then everything that you do affects this score. And a lot of the things that they cite as like the top things that affect it are just non-issues, in my opinion. Like jaywalking makes it go way down, and your spending habits. Every dollar that you spend, they're like, oh, you're buying another beer, I see. All right, well, your score's going down. You've been buying, we see this little habit that you have, or, oh, you're buying video games again, huh? Wow. All right. Well, we're going to click your score down a few notches. But if you buy, they said, baby diapers or clothing, your score go. I mean, it's just like, what? Huh? And so then the score affects everything you do. So if it gets too low, you can't buy a plane ticket. And so a lot of it is just public shame. You know, all of these communist countries, they get your neighbors against you. And so if your score drops too low, then everyone's like, oh, God, don't associate with him. They actually showed this app that has like a spinning radar thing like you see on planes and in submarine movies. Like, we have a bogey, we got a bogey right here. And there's a spinning thing, and it shows you if there's anyone around you that has a low score, and it's like, an untouchable, a loser. People, we need to move over here. That guy jaywalked, and he littered a cigarette. So it's this social credit shaming. You don't want everybody. They post huge billboards. It's like your face if your score is too low. And so what it does is it kind of just puts everyone against each other. Like, oh, I'm not even going to talk to my neighbor. What if he said, what if he tells on me for something? But if your score drops too low, you can't buy a plane ticket, or a high-speed train ticket, which is funny because it's like, well, your guys' stupid score made everyone around here think they think I'm a loser. So now I can't even leave. What the hell? I want to go to the next town where everyone doesn't hate me because I jaywalked. All right, so how do they pull off this nightmare? Starts with 200 million insane face recognition cameras. So think of all of the cameras that are on the earth. More than half of them are in China. And these cameras, it looks like I said, it just looks like a dystopian nightmare movie. So it takes a picture of your face, and then it's all grid, and then all your information comes up, and your score comes up. So if you're hurrying to work, looking both ways, you're like, all right, I can go, and then you're going across the street, but oh, God, you're jaywalking. Oh, God, Chinese government, he jaywalked. So you're going, and then you're like, oh, God, I'm late for work, I'm going to coast is clear, and you're going, and then a camera over here takes a picture of your face. And then you get a little notification, your score dropped. Now you can't get a plane and no one likes you. And you're just like, oh, sweet. That's perfect. And so there's an app. You can always check out your number. Isn't that fun? What's your number? And that's the app that has that, like, yeah, are there any massive losers around you? And it's called the Sesame Credit app. Sesame Credit is the company. And they said it's a private company that works with the Chinese government. You'll always hear that when they talk about, like, same with Huawei. It's a private company that works with the Chinese government. Oh, really? Is that what it is? Is it a private company that just, we'll work with you guys? We like to work with you guys. We're private, all right? It's the same people. It's the same. I picture, like, if you were having trouble with your app or your score or something, you go to the Sesame Credit and you're like, hi, I need to talk to someone about I'm having a little issues with, and they're like, yes, hi, I'm the leader of the, and you're like, oh, I don't know if actually this is a question for the actual app. This might be for maybe like a government guy. Is there any? And the guy just takes off his Sesame hat and puts on a government hat. Yes, thank you. Welcome to the government. I am the government. And so what this does is it just basically makes the society a soulless, terrified, I don't even know. Everybody's just walking around like, okay, I gotta keep my score up. I'm not gonna be myself or, and they interview people. And what's so funny is all of these videos that interview people, all the people are like, I think that it's great. It pushes people to be, well, this nightmare quote that someone said. She goes, oh, where is it? The system is working as a warning or alert to push people to be a good person. And all of these interviews, they have this same look on their face like, I love the system. It works perfectly and it pushes everybody to be a good person and to make our society great. And they have a wince smile on though. You know, I need a wince smile bell. Someone had that suggestion. I totally agree. But they have the wince smile going. They're like, it inspires love for our system. And all the interviewers from American News that go over there are like, we can't, all of the people seem to like it. They seem to be into it. And the interviewer's like, hi, yeah, it's great. And it's like, because if they say it's not, they'll probably end up in some camp somewhere going, this was not worth it. Not one single person had anything bad to say about it. And the perks, it's like one of the girls is like, because I have a good score and I don't have a personality anymore, I get to ride a public bike without a deposit. Sounds like a good deal. The men in suits now have my soul, but I get to ride on a bike without a deposit. Yay! If I ride in the street at the wrong time, I get executed. Yay! I think I've said this way back when we were talking about how Graham, an FBI agent, looked at Chris Watts and said, you know, Alexas are programmed to record distress. And I always thought reading 1984 as a young person of how are they going to force us to, with the technology and the cameras and everything. And now that we're here, it's real easy. They just hang all the cameras up without asking, and then they make smartphones and devices like Alexa that are so cool. Whoa, look how cool this is, this phone. It has a camera with a lot of megapixels. So therefore, I'll carry it with me everywhere. And so as long as they just make the technology cool, we'll buy it. We'll give them our hard-earned money for it. Yo, man, Alexa, it turns the volume up if you say, Alexa, turn the volume up. Well, in that case, I'm putting one in every room of my house. It turns up the volume? You got to be kidding me. Alexa, turn that volume up. Yeah, all right. They're recording my family's every move, but at least we're jamming out. The system is working as a warning or alert to push it. Anytime you start hearing like the system, their system, it's always a sick joke. The government dudes in suits always call it their system. The slogan inspires love for their system. Anytime you start hearing the words like their system and love for their system, it's time. All right, so 200 million facial recognition cameras are the start of it, but that's not even the most horrifying part. So they've been doing this in one big giant community, and then soon, I think real soon, the whole country's gonna do it. So in this little community that they have been doing it for a while, it looks like almost like a Stepford wife. It's like the streets are totally clean and everybody is slows way down, and then no one wants to get in trouble and no one wants to. And there's posters everywhere that say honesty, credibility. Hello, honesty. And they put big old billboards up of people that are jaywalking. So if you do something wrong, there's a big giant billboard that shames you. And then no one wants to talk to you because you're what do they call it? You're a discredited. I have been discredited. I would be discredited immediately. I've been free for way too long. It would just be like, all right, I'm going to get my score as low as possible the first week, and then I don't have to worry about it. Discredited. All right, so then the scariest part of it, you got the 200 million cameras zooming in on your face, sending information everywhere, posting on billboards. Everyone's smiling, going, I love this system. I'm so happy, and I love being able to be free and safe in my system. And so the most scary part is not only do they have the cameras, but then, and this is totally crazy, they have what's called information collectors, which are paid government snitches who walk around with a little notebook. So the one they interviewed, her name was Jo I. And she's this old snitch-looking lady, and she had come out of retirement, and the government asked her to do this job. So I'm sure she was just snitching her whole life. And so they're interviewing her, and she's sitting there with her notebook and her red sweatshirt, and she's like, yeah, I think that this system is great, and it makes our society so much better. And what she does is they show her, she's an information collector. She goes out, and she has 3,000 people that are her people. And so they show her walking out, so there's these people sitting, just hanging out, talking in this little area, and she walks up to them with a little notebook and goes, hi guys, what's going on today? Why are you guys sitting in here? Is it to keep warm? You can tell these adults, they instantly put a big fake wince smile on, like, oh, hello, Mrs. Joe. Hi, hello, Mrs. Joe Knee-High today. Yes, we are sitting here. We're just doing good deeds. He helped an old lady across the street. I helped a drunk guy home. He carried someone's groceries. We're just here doing good deeds, sitting here. Sorry if this isn't the correct place to sit. And she's writes in her book. And it's just proven that humans can't handle power. There's a lot of studies that as soon as they get power, it just goes to shit. So you got to switch it out. You got to bring people down. You got to have checks and balances. And what's so crazy is this information collector. Think of the power that has. It just, you can just see it in this Joe I knee lady's face, that she's just like, I'm important. I can just ruin anyone's life. And they're asking her, like, so how did the day go of going out and harassing people? And she was like, well, a couple people did good deeds, and that will be reflected in their score. But the farmer that was heard swearing and being rude, score will go down. That's what she said. It's totally crazy to think. It's like, if you read anything about communism, that the countries that have really, it just has gotten extremely bad, where they're murdering their own people, they go after the farmers. Picture this farmer. I looked into farming in this community. A lot of them grow potatoes or potato type things, and they do a lot of the plowing themselves, and they work hard, and a couple days a week they'll go to this market and sell. So picture a farmer waking up early every morning, and he puts on his dirty denim overalls and a green work coat, and he's out there farming. And today's the day he's taking these 2 giant sacks of potatoes into town, and he's sitting there and he's getting everything ready, and he's trying to, he's going into town, he's smoking a cigarette, and today's the day, and he's packing up the potatoes, and he throws his cigarette, and he's, gets all the way to town, and halfway to town, one of the bags of potatoes opens a little bit, and some spills out, and he's like, oh shit, and he grabs those potatoes, and he puts them in a bag, and he gets to town, and he's selling his food that he grew, okay? Food for his nation. And people are buying his potatoes, and he feels good. His work that he's done with his hands is, seeing chubby cheeked children, their parents buying his food makes him feel good. And at the end of the day, he has a celebratory cigarette, and he heads back. And when he gets home, Joe I knee is standing on his doorstep, ready to talk to him. And she says, Mr. Cho, the farmer, how are you today? He's like, yeah, good, how are you? And she goes, well, I've been better, Mr. Cho. Someone said that they saw you littering a cigarette and also using profanity. I heard you swear. This is all going to be reflected in your score, Mr. Cho. Just think what this farmer has to... He's sitting there looking at this lady who doesn't do anything. She writes in a little book, and she gives it to the guys in suits. So people... just imagine that this guy has to sit there and smile at this lady. America is far from perfect, but at least we can still... If some lady walks up to me, I can say, Joe, get out of here. Scram, Joe, I'm not talking to you. Get the hell out of here. Take your little notebook and go, all right? But you have to sit there. I almost want to write a Chinese Western starring Mr. Cho. I could just have watched too much Tarantino recently, but he's like plowing his field, and he's struggling, and his score has been going down, and the nightmare dystopian credit system is ruining the country that he loves. And then it builds, and they're putting the squeeze on him, and they're about ready to take his farm because of, God knows what. And Joe I knee comes towards the end and is starting to talk about how he's losing something, and they're flexing their power. And they go, yes, Mr. Cho, excuse me, your score is going from 750 to 600 because we heard you swearing. And he goes, Joe, your score goes down to 357. And she goes, what? And then he pulls out a giant cowboy gun and just blows her entire head. Her head just totally explodes. And then Dwayne Eddy's Raunchy comes on. And he's just sitting there, and he lights up a cigarette. He's smoking it. And then like 20 seconds of the song Raunchy, it's just that and he's sitting there during that whole part just smoking a cigarette while Joe's headless body is still holding the notebook. And then there's that saxophone part that comes in, and that saxophone part always to me it sounds like it would be in like the end of a comedy, like "Good night, everybody." And so he's sitting there during the just smoking the cigarette, and right before the sassy saxophone part comes in, he looks over at the big. They all have the picture of the communist leader on their wall. Right before that sax part comes in, he points the big old 357 at that picture, blows a big hole in the wall, and then it goes black and it's credits as that sax comes in. That's my Tarantino ending. But what a nightmare, right? I feel bad for these people, but they need to stand up, because it's just not acceptable. And there's arguments that this is happening all over the world. It's happening in America right now. We got a whole different problem in America where the huge tech companies can deplatform you, take your voice away, and they're almost more powerful than the government at this point. But still, I mean, no one can come up and shake you down the way Joe I can. And they were thinking about doing what's called predictive policing, I think it's called, in LA. And people were like, nope, no. And what's it called? They protested against it, and they axed that. But you got to be careful. You can't let the guys in suits create a system for you to love. It's not going to work. And I don't know. It's horrifying. It sounds like I think there was I didn't watch it, but I think there's a Black Mirror episode that's almost exactly like this. And totally crazy. All right. This is kind of a weird week. My girlfriend and I are going on a week-long vacation. We leave on Saturday. Maybe I'll tell you guys all about it tomorrow. I don't want to keep going on this video. But, yeah, we're doing... Last year, for the people that have heard the trekking story in Peru, when I almost got us killed climbing a mountain in Peru, we try to do... My girlfriend has August or most of August off, so we try to do a vacation. So I'll be gone Saturday to Sunday. But, yeah. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you next time. Why? Stiving why? Shum.